You're listening to the deep dive review on Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. Feeling is the Secret is a very short book, but also one of the simplest and most distilled books in this entire category. It overlaps heavily with The Magic of Believing, You Are the Placebo, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, but it goes even more direct. It's not just what you think, it's what you feel to be true that creates your experience. 1. The core thesis. The big idea feeling is the force that impresses ideas onto the subconscious mind. In simple terms, thought leads to feeling. Feeling impresses the subconscious. The subconscious expresses experience. Chart 2. The two levels of mind. Goddard divides the mind into two levels. The conscious mind chooses thoughts, imagines ideas, directs attention, and the subconscious mind accepts impressions, creates automatic responses, expresses into reality. The key insight is this: the subconscious does not respond strongly to logic, it responds to emotionally felt experiences. Part 3. Why feeling matters more than thinking. This is the central shift in the book. Most people believe if I think positively, things will change. But Goddard says something very different. Thinking without feeling changes nothing. For example, a person may say, I'm successful, but internally feel doubt, anxiety, lack, and because of that emotional state, no real change occurs. But when someone imagines success and emotionally feels it as real, the subconscious begins accepting that experience. Part 4. The state akin to sleep, SATS. This is one of the most famous techniques in the book. Goddard calls it the state akin to sleep. It is the relaxed, drowsy state right before sleep. Why does it matter? Because in this state, the conscious mind quiets, the subconscious becomes more receptive verse. The practice is simple. First, relax deeply. Second, imagine a short scene that implies your goal is already achieved. Third, feel it as real. And finally, drift into sleep in that emotional state. For example, instead of imagining, I will succeed someday, you imagine someone congratulating you. You feel the pride, the relief, the gratitude as though it has already happened. Hash 5, the power of assumption. Goddard teaches what is often called the law of assumption. The idea is this: whatever you assume to be true and emotionally feel to be true begins expressing itself in your life. In other words, your inner state becomes your outer experience. 6. Living from the end. This is one of the most important concepts in the book. Most people live like this: I'll feel successful when I succeed. But Goddard reverses the order. Feel successful now, and behavior and outcomes begin following that emotional state. And from a practical perspective, this makes sense. Because feeling influences behavior, behavior influences results, results reinforce feeling. 7. The role of imagination. Goddard treats imagination as creative power. His central claim is this: what you vividly imagine and emotionally accept becomes reality. Now, practically speaking, imagination shapes perception, decision making, behavior, and over time, behavior shapes outcomes. 8. The deepest insight most people miss. This book is not really about wishful thinking, it's about training your emotional baseline. Most people constantly live in emotional states like stress, lack, frustration by default. What Goddard is teaching is how to intentionally generate new emotional states. 9. The emotional loop. This connects directly to modern neuroscience and books like Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Feeling influences behavior. Behavior influences experience. Experience reinforces feeling. For example, feel confident and you act more boldly. Act more boldly and you often create better results. Better results reinforce confidence, and the cycle continues. 10. The one sentence that captures the book. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is Goddard's most famous line and the essence of the entire book in one sentence. 11. The 5 ideas worth remembering forever. Number 1. Feeling impresses the subconscious. Number 2. The subconscious creates automatic outcomes. Number 3. Imagination combined with emotion creates powerful imprinting. Number 4. The state before sleep is highly receptive. And number 5. Feel it now, not later. Chapter 12, a simple daily practice. You can condense the entire method into a simple nightly routine. Lie down and relax. Enter a drowsy state. Visualize a short success scene. Feel it as real and fall asleep in that emotional state. During the day, begin catching your emotional state. Shift from stress to calm, doubt to certainty, again and again. 13. The criticism of the book. To understand the book clearly, we should also understand its limitations. First, it can sound overly simplified, as though feeling alone creates reality, but this ignores action, environment, external factors. Second, some readers misinterpret the book to mean no action is necessary, everything is purely mental. A more balanced interpretation is this: feeling is powerful because it influences behavior, perception, persistence, not because it magically replaces effort. Final mental model. Think of feeling as the language of the subconscious. Thoughts speak, feelings convince. The bigger pattern you now see at this point, a larger pattern becomes visible across all of these books. Thoughts shape beliefs, beliefs shape feelings, feelings shape identity, identity shapes habits, habits shape actions, and actions shape life. The key shift this book adds is this. Earlier books teach control your thoughts, build belief, but this book says none of it truly works unless you feel it. Thank you for listening to this deep dive review on Feeling is the Secret.